Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada, the Thomas and Mack Center and the USA Basketball Showcase presented by Nike. Tonight, Team USA will be split into two squads as they begin their preparation for the FIBA World Championships next month in Turkey. The white team will be led by the man many believe is already the star of this group, 21-year-old reigning NBA scoring champion Kevin Durant of the Oklahoma City Thunder. The blue team will be led by Chauncey Billups, the graybeard of this group at 33. A former Finals MVP, Mr. Big Shot, leads a guard-heavy bunch into action tonight. Hi, everybody, and welcome inside the ESPN studios. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, so excited to be a part of the beginning of USA basketball coverage here all summer long on the ESPN family of networks. This is a young team. It's the youngest team since pros have been assembled for Team USA. There is no LeBron James, no Dwayne Wade, no Carmelo Anthony on the team. It's not Redeem Team, but Fran, you say this group has its own catchy nickname.
I like it, Team Reconstruction, because Coach K and Jerry Colangelo have built an infrastructure for USA basketball that is rock solid, but you're going to see 11 players under the age of 22 competing for spots on this World Championship team, and it's going to be fun to watch. Very athletic group, particularly in the backcourt, Kevin.
Well, let's take a look at our starting lineups presented by Nike. And as Fran mentioned, talk about athleticism, talk about quality. Rajon Rondo and Chauncey Billups for the blue team, led by athleticism up front as well. Rudy Gay, Jeff Green, and perhaps the most skilled of all the big men on Team USA this summer, Brook Lopez. Team white, led by Derrick Rose and Stephen Curry. In the backcourt, Andre Iguodala, Kevin Durant, and Lamar Odom getting the start at the center position tonight. There is the man who is orchestrating everything with the Team USA program right now, Coach Mike Krzyzewski, not actually coaching tonight. He's left that up to Nate McMillan and Mike D'Antoni. But Coach K overseeing the assembly of this team and USA basketball as they prepare for the FIBA World Championships alongside the man who's in charge of it all, Jerry Colangelo.
Well, these two guys, starting in 2005, has resurrected USA basketball, and they're here to watch tonight because there are some definite spots on the line. They're going to take 12 to Istanbul and probably 15 guys to their next training camp, Kevin, in New York City on August 9th.
Well, there have been some injuries with Team USA. We'll talk about that throughout the course of the broadcast. It's thinned out the roster somewhat. But the group here assembled, again, as we mentioned, not exactly the same group that fans were used to seeing at the 2008 Olympics. They're a much younger group this go-around. Andre Iguodala, Brook Lopez, and company for competing for spots. And in a tournament, friend, you say that the world views a little bit differently than the Olympics.
Well, they do. There's 24 teams that have qualified to go to Istanbul in late August. And this is very much akin to the World Cup in soccer in terms of basketball fans around the world.
All right, action is underway, and the blue team controls the opening tap. We'll talk about the differences in some of the rules between international play and the NBA game. There are 10 4-minute quarters, 24-second shot clock. Driving to the basket, and the layup in traffic off the mark by Rajon Rondo. Rebound controlled by the white team.
Well, both teams are going with small forwards in the NBA at power forward in Durant and Jeff Green. But this is a guy that can really make his mark for Team USA, Stephen Curry, with the long-range three.
Coming off a sensational rookie season with the Golden State Warriors, averaged 17.5 points per game. Maybe one of the specialty players that stand a chance of making the team in the 2012 London Games. 3-0 lead for the white team, just underway from Las Vegas, Nevada. Nice crossover by Kevin Durant.
How about that? He's not even 22 years old yet. Can you imagine averaging 30 points a game in his third season as an NBA player?
Well, he just re-upped with Oklahoma City for the next 5 seasons via Twitter. We'll talk more about that as the three-pointer knockdown that time by Andre Iguodala.
Well, remember that three-point line is shorter in international play by a good 2 feet, so that's almost a mid-range shot.
I correct myself, it was Rudy Gay who knocked down the three. 5-3, White in front, just underway. Billups in the lane, drops it off for Lopez, and it'll be last touched by Lamar Odom.
Well, this is an opportunity for Mike D'Antoni and Nate McMillan, two of the assistant coaches, to coach these teams. But what they're trying to do right now is just get a feel for those last 3 or 4 or 5 spots on this roster.
Short jumper misfired by Iguodala, and the rebound into the hands of Lamar Odom, one of the veteran players on this young team. Odom coming off his 2nd straight championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. Nifty pullback, but the jumper is off the front of the rim by Derrick Rose.
Well, at practice this week, Kevin, Coach K emphasized the all-out pressure defense, also spread offense, open up the floor for a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of runouts. This team does not have a true low post scorer.
This is Durant with the basketball, 13 on the shot clock, gives to Odom. Lefty layup is blocked by Lopez, and that's one of the things he brings to this team.
He is going to have to be a defensive presence. This team is not going to have a lot of size.
And it's Lopez on the defensive end and Lopez on the offensive end. The New Jersey net center tying things at 5.
Now, this is a USA team that's already lost Robin Lopez to an injury, Amari Stoudemire because of insurance issues with the Knicks.
Well, it's Iguodala making it a 7-5 game. And Iguodala, one of those players who really has a chance to enhance his leadership skills this go-round. He signed an $82 million deal 2 summers ago, looking to improve on his leadership under the leadership of Nate McMillan.
Well, Andre Iguodala is quietly effective. 6-year pro now, averaging about 16 points a game. Gets you about 6 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game. And he's one of those guys like Durant, Jeff Green, that can play the power forward spot some in international play.
That pass a little bit too hot for Lopez to handle. Well, Fran, we talked about some of the injury problems with Team USA. No Amari Stoudemire. He has an uninsurable contract. Right. No Robin Lopez, the back injury. Tyreek Evans sprained his left ankle earlier in the week, and David Lee out with a jammed finger.
You know, David Lee was a guy that really had a good chance of making his team. He's one of those mobile inside-outside forwards. Now the Golden State Warriors.
Iguodala again, and he's had the hot hand in the early going.
That really helps. Now, this is a guy that's played. He's only missed 6 games in 6 seasons, so he's durable, versatile, shows you a little bit of offense. He's excellent defensively as well.
He gets the making the foul called on Stephen Curry that time. Iguodala, former NBA first-team all-rookie selection, coming off a 17-point-per-game season with the Philadelphia 76ers, already set to go into his 7th NBA season. There's the head fake that time by Jeff Green, and draws the foul in contact. Jeff Green is one of those interesting players that Team USA will pull from because of the different things he brings to the table, his athleticism and rebounding.
Well, it's true because, and watching practice this week, Coach K went with a variety of different combinations. A guy like Jeff Green, Danny Granger, we mentioned Kevin Durant. These guys are NBA small forwards, but in international play, much like Carmelo Anthony was in 2008, very effective as a guy that can play both inside and out internationally. Keep in mind, Kevin, FIBA basketball is a lot more physical right now than the NBA, primarily because of the rules. No hand checking in the NBA. FIBA, they let you get away with a little more contact.
Green 1 of 2 from the line that time. Good look down low, and Tyson Chandler throws it down and a foul.
Now, when you talk about an inside presence, you got Brook Lopez, you got Kevin Love, but this guy already has international experience. Remember, Tyson Chandler played on the 2007 FIBA Americas champions, and at 7'1", could be that type of big man that you can use in situations defensively and also around the rim.
He's become the well-traveled Tyson Chandler, now a member of the Dallas Mavericks. Acquired in a trade this offseason with Charlotte for Eric Dampier and Eduardo Napara. They'll back up Brendan Haywood in Dallas when he's healthy. That's been an issue throughout his career. Step back, Iguodala feeling it early on, but that one iron unkind.
Remember, Mike D'Antoni is the offensive coordinator of this team, so you'll see a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of spread offense, 4 out, 1 in, primarily because they don't really have that one guy you could throw the ball into in the low post and play around. And in fact, in 2008, Kevin, when you think about it, they didn't really throw the ball into Dwight Howard that much in terms of having him go get you low post baskets.
It's already the 4th turnover for the blue team. Fran, you spent the week in Las Vegas out at practice as we see Durant take it to the basket, blocked out of bounds. Give us an idea of the competition level you saw in these practices.
Well, it was outstanding. I think the one thing Coach K pointed out was the quickness and athleticism. You look at these guards, they're some of the best point guards in the league playing, and a lot of them are young players. And the thing that stood out to me, and that what has changed under Jerry Colangelo and Coach K, is the pride in wearing the USA uniform. A lot of these guys, you look at Rondo, he played over 100 games this year for the Boston Celtics, and he's in camp. A lot of these guys have logged a lot of minutes during the season, Kevin.
Tyson Chandler back to the free throw line, missing for the second straight trip. Talked about the injury problems that he's had last season. The left foot injury kept him out for a few months. He's missed 62 games over the past 2 seasons.
I'll tell you what, he's going to benefit. Think about how good he was with the Hornets and Chris Paul. You know, you think of putting him with Jason Kidd this year in pick and rolls, and he can be maybe as effective as he was when he was really solid for the Hornets.
73% free throw shooter during the season. He's 0 for 3 in this game to start. 12-6. The White in front as we near the midway mark of the first quarter. Crossover dribble, kept alive down low by Kevin Love. Off the mark. And the ball will stay with the blue team.
I think when you look at USA, what you're looking for, who is going to be the second scorer behind Kevin Durant? Their guard play is going to be solid. They're going to be a little light inside, but they need a second scorer to go with Durant.
Wait to see what the call is right here. Rajon Rondo involved in the action. And Fran, talk about the fact that they are playing with FIBA officials and some of the different rules that perhaps some of the NBA players on this squad aren't necessarily used to.
Well, you know, you got the trapezoid lane, of course, that they're going to use right through the World Championship. That will change in October when FIBA goes to the NBA lane, but the shorter three-point line, a coach is the only person that can call a timeout. It cannot be a player on the floor. You can knock that ball, and probably most importantly, knock the ball off the cylinder once it's up there on the rim. So you got to get used to that in terms of FIBA play. There you see Terry Moore, who's an outstanding college official, but also an outstanding FIBA official as well.
With 1 on the shot clock, shot attempt was fired up by Russell Westbrook, locked out of bounds, so a turnover on possession. And Russell Westbrook sporting the mohawk this week, Fran, but you say he was one of the really, really attractive players during this week.
Well, he had a terrific week. Excellent athlete. He's going to provide that pressure defense along with guys like Rondo and Rose for Coach K. They're going to have to score off turnovers, this team.
That's Eric Gordon into the game, loses the ball. Been a little bit of a sloppy action in the early going. This team really only assembled for 1 week as we see another turnover by the White squad. 4 minutes, 40 seconds to go here in the opening quarter from Las Vegas. The White team out to a 12-6 lead over the Blue. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla back with you. The 2010 USA Basketball Showcase. Team White out to a 12-6 lead over Team Blue. The White team shooting 56%, just 2 turnovers. The Blue team only 22%, 5 turnovers. Fran, how difficult is it to gel as a unit when you're used to playing so many different styles and really only having been together for 1 week?
You know, it's a great point. If you remember the 2008 Olympic champions, the same starting lineup played in 2007. So it's not just losing the likes of great players like Wade and Anthony and LeBron, but they also had the continuity of 2 to 3 years to play together. This is a little different situation.
Kevin Durant, free throw line jumper is good. And Kevin Durant, the de facto leader in many ways of this group, certainly scoring-wise, but also leadership on the floor.
Well, he's very humble. He said he doesn't want to be the face of the team, but he certainly is, and I think it's true in the eyes of Coach K and the other players on this squad.
Youngest player in the history of the NBA to lead the league in scoring, averaged better than 30 points per game last season in Oklahoma City. Tyson Chandler corrals the rebound, and the White team on the offensive with an 8-point lead. Well, Gordon thought about the three, takes it that time, and Eric Gordon, a player who's impressed a lot of people.
Well, he gives you offense, particularly from the perimeter. The other thing about Eric Gordon is because international play is physical, you have to be a physical guard. Guys like Rose and Gordon will flourish in FIBA play.
That's Kevin Love knocking down the three-pointer, and Love can shoot the ball from the perimeter. He actually shot 33% from three-point range during the season in Minnesota.
Well, what you like about Kevin Love is he's a double-double guy, and he only plays in the mid-20s in terms of minutes. But this guy, Eric Gordon, LA Clippers, former Indiana Hoosier, averaged about 16, 17 points a game this year. And take a look at Kevin Love. They don't have a lot of size up front. We mentioned it because of the injuries. Kevin Love, one of those guys that can give you that grit inside, great passer, terrific rebounder, and a good mid-range step-out jump shooter.
And Love picked up his second foul there. You talked about the minutes that he did not get. He said, I feel like I'm a starter earlier this summer. He was very honest. He said sixth man is and will kind of be hard for me to accept on the Minnesota Timberwolves. He said if this were the Lakers and Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum in front of me, it'd be different.
Well, just remember now, they just traded Al Jefferson to the Nuggets. They signed Darko Milicic to a 4-year deal, who's really a center. Kevin Love's going to get the opportunity to play power forward this year on a young and improving T-Wolves team.
And Minnesota adding Michael Beasley. They drafted Wes Johnson, Luke Babbitt, Trevor Booker.
Well, they traded Babbitt to the Blazers. They got back Martell Webster, still a young player, only 24 years old. This guy is unbelievable. The attitude, the charisma, and I do believe Kobe and LeBron and Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul will play in 2012 in London. But I will say to you right now, Kevin, that Kevin Durant will be a starter on that team.
Wow, starter. Durant's got 6 points in the early going. Another turnover by the blue team, and the white will look to run. This is Derrick Rose. Leaves it to Gordon. And the fast break stalled. In fact, Rose kicks it way back up top. Odom. Three-pointer on the way by Rondo. And if they make it Gerald Wallace that time firing that three. This is Gay in the paint, looking for his offense in the early going, and he draws a foul.
Well, he needs to do that. I think Coach K is looking at Rudy Gay as one of those guys we talked about. Is he going to be efficient enough to be a second option behind Kevin Durant? Or is it going to be a guy like Iguodala or Danny Granger? Danny Granger really impressed me early in the week. You're looking at a guy from New Mexico who has averaged 25 points a game the last 2 seasons in the league, and he shoots 38% from behind the arc and can play inside.
Rudy Gay, a 75% free throw shooter. During this past season, he re-upped with the Grizzlies this offseason, 5 years, $84 million. He admitted, I was surprised. He said, quote, actually, I was really surprised. When I found out they did that, I was like, wow.
Remember what he was doing? He was driving to the airport in Memphis to get on a plane to go to Minnesota to visit the T-Wolves. And I guess you could say he stopped in his tracks.
I'd say 84 million reasons, right? Three-pointer on the way, and it's knocked down by Danny Granger, the man you were just talking about.
This is a guy I really like. I think he's perfect for international play.
Right back at the other end as the scoring is fast and furious. That one knocked down by O.J. Mayo, the third-year guard out of Memphis.
O.J. Mayo and Eric Gordon are going to have to play well tonight. They've had good weeks, but the strength of this team is in the backcourt.
And of 2 members of the Memphis Grizzlies on this Team USA looking to make the FIBA World Championships. Offense has picked up here a bit, 22-13. The white lead the blue. Another three, and connecting again is O.J. Mayo. That's 2 in a row.
O.J. Mayo, one of those guys, he wants to be a point guard, but he's really hung his hat since he's gotten into the league at that shooting guard spot. You can see why.
Another three. Boy, they've been launching a lot of threes, and that one goes down by Eric Gordon. Here's Gay again. Threes fast and furious, and obviously, Fran, in an international game, that's a major component.
Well, you've got to make your threes, especially because some teams are going to zone Team USA, not want to deal with the athleticism and the movement of that motion offense or pick-and-roll offense.
There's a man right here who can knock down the outside shot. Stephen Curry kicks. Gerald Wallace tries a three, and Love gobbles it up.
You know, you mentioned Kevin Love's 2 fouls. Another FIBA rule, only 5 fouls in FIBA play. So if you think back to the gold medal game in 2008 against Spain, both Kobe and Wade picked up 2 fouls in that first quarter. So you got to really be cautious.
Off the set inbounds, and now wait a minute, the official saying no, a foul beforehand. They'll call that one on Steph Curry. Make it that Danny Granger whistled for his first personal.
You know, you think of the turnover, Kevin, it's not unlike one of Mike Krzyzewski's college teams where you lose great players to the NBA and then have to retool all over again. And they're in a very similar situation. This is a team, we mentioned the youth, relative inexperience, but what is really underrated about what Jerry Colangelo and Mike Krzyzewski did starting in 2006 is the core of that team was together for 3 years.
Mike Krzyzewski, member of the Basketball Hall of Fame, class of 2001, 1969 graduate of the U.S. Military Academy, and of course, the gold medal winning coach in the 2008 Olympics. Blue team looking to run its love in transition, blocked from behind by Wallace, but not before the foul is called on Iguodala. Both teams, despite the turnover, shooting it very, very well from behind the arc. White team shooting 71%. Again, Coach K, 4-time national championship coach. And how about the big man running the floor?
You know, Kevin Love is one of the best outlet passers in the league, and it's usually the other way around. This time he got out on the break and got a chance to pick up a couple free throws. And you think back to 2005 when Jerry Colangelo became the managing director of USA Basketball. He had some hard decisions to make about the head coach. Obviously some great NBA head coaches, and I think it's a credit to both him and Mike Krzyzewski that Mike Krzyzewski is, if he's anything as a basketball coach, he is a great leader. You can talk about X and O's, you can talk about recruiting, but he is a great communicator, and the job he did with some great players over the course of that 3-year run was remarkable.
One of the great quotes from Coach K as Gerald Wallace lays it in. Krzyzewski says leaders should be reliable without being predictable. They should be consistent without being anticipated. And I think that that's something that when you have a college coach, despite all his success, and the driving layup that time by Russell Westbrook, a college coach coaching pros, I think the pros like that structure.
Well, remember, Kobe Bryant tried to recruit Coach K to come join him with the Lakers. In fact, I remember when Coach K was recruiting Kobe Bryant to come to Duke University before he decided to head right to the NBA.
The jump to the NBA, indeed. Derrick Rose, athletic layup attempt off the mark. And there are the two men, the brain trust of USA Basketball, Jerry Colangelo and head coach Mike Krzyzewski.
Well, there are going to be some Achilles heels with this team. There's no question about it. Scoring inside will be one of them. I mentioned the fact that they're going to be, you know, remember Dwight Howard was really a defensive presence in the middle in 2008. And Brook Lopez can be that way, but I don't think he can be the dominant force inside that Dwight Howard was. So what it does is it allows you to put more emphasis on your pressure defense with these outstanding and athletic guards.
And no shortage of coaches on the floor either. Chauncey Billups barking out orders. Very guard-heavy team, so you'd expect that. We'll talk about Jason Kidd's role in this team coming up as Rose, another athletic layup.
That's the strength we talked about. Everybody talks about needing shooting in FIBA play, but you got to handle that hand checking, and you got to be a tough customer when you get to the paint when you play against teams like Spain and Argentina and Greece.
You pointed out that may be one of the things that Derrick Rose possesses that some of the other guards on this team do not. 3 seconds to go. Odom ahead to Gordon, tries to beat the buzzer. The lefty layup is off the mark. Well, a bit of a slow start to this one. The team's feeling each other out, sort of feeling their way on their own squads, but the white team shooting the basketball well, better than 70% from the three-point line in the opening quarter, led by Kevin Durant. 6 points, leading the white team out to an early first quarter lead. Watching USA Basketball on ESPN2. Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada. The USA Basketball Showcase presented by Nike. Team White out to a 6-point lead. We've talked about the youth here, Fran Fraschilla on this basketball team. There are some veterans on the squad as well, if you'll call them that.
Well, you think of Chauncey Billups and Lamar Odom, you got 24 years of NBA experience between them. You throw Tyson Chandler in, who's got experience with that 2007 club. But Coach K, I think, you know, when he said he said this week that Billups and Odom are natural leaders. They've got NBA championships. They're team guys first. And there you see Darren Williams of the Utah Jazz. Remember that 2018?
Indeed, the Redeem team. In fact, Odom, the lone remaining member of Team USA to previously represent the U.S. in a major international competition. He was on the 2004 Athens team.
Don't remind him.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, he started every game in that debacle.
How about that nifty throwdown in transition by JaVale McGee? And boy, if there's an interesting story on this team, it is JaVale McGee. Injuries necessitating the need for another big man to be a part of the team. And Freddie was in Vegas, so it made it easy.
Well, and he played well in the Vegas Summer League, which made it even easier. And actually, he has shown very well throughout the week. Little inexperienced, but you can see that just being a part of this Team USA training camp this week, whether he makes the team or not, will certainly help his chances in the future. Everybody's wanting to be a part of Team USA right now.
Well, there's McGee again. He averaged 6.4 points per game last season, 4.1 rebounds, but he wanted to play with John Wall, get the Washington Wizards rebuilding their own team in Washington. Averaged 19.5 points, 9.3 rebounds in the Summer League, and he's impressed here in front of Mike Krzyzewski and Jerry Colangelo.
How about all the lob alley-oops he's going to catch this year from John Wall, as long as he runs the floor. Got to work on his left hand and get a little stronger, but very impressive young athlete. There's that left hand. How about that? Watched him this week. He was very right-hand dominant. And terrific move right there by the young guy.
McGee had a dunk in the NBA Summer League with the Wizards team. He said that he was so close to the rim, he felt like it was at his chest. Not a problem that Fran and I have as we're tied.
USA Basketball will be making a $10,000 donation to the Morale Welfare and Recreation Fund at Nellis Air Force Base right here in Las Vegas. Enjoy USA Basketball.
Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, we're tied at 29 here early in the second quarter. Now it's time for tonight's Cooler Talk, presented by Gatorade, which is a behind-the-scenes look at Team USA's practice sessions.
Deny. I'm help. Screen. Come here, D. Rose. Come here, D.
Right there. Good shot, boy.
One more. Good pass, boy. Y'all get all that?
USA on three. 1, 2, 3. USA.
Well, Fran, USA was tested in the 08 Olympics, but they said some of the more competitive games, as they were for the Dream Team, were when Team USA played Team USA like we have right here.
Well, you're not going to see probably the kind of defense that Coach K will emphasize when they get to New York and then go over to Europe, where they'll train in Spain and Greece. But there's no doubt about the fact that there are guys that are playing here that want to represent the USA on their jerseys. And that's a credit to what Jerry Colangelo has built with Team USA. It's interesting, Kevin. Right now, we're the reigning world champions in under 19, under 17. We're the Olympic champions. And the young players coming up now in college, high school, there's more pride in representing the USA because of what the Redeem team did over the course of the last 3 or 4 years.
And refreshing to see as the three-pointer is off the mark. Kevin Durant leading all scorers with a game-high 8 points. Derrick Rose, no, but it's Durant with the offensive rebound that he's fouled going up. That, to me, was one of the more interesting components of Kevin Durant's game. Not just the fact that he led the NBA in scoring, Fred, it's also that he led the Oklahoma City Thunder in rebounding as well.
Well, you're right. Got to the line, made as many free throws as anybody in the NBA. And the thing about Kevin Durant, we mentioned the fact that he'll play a lot of power forward during the week. One of the lineups Coach K used was Lamar Odom at center, Kevin Durant at power forward, Rudy Gay at small forward. And Kevin Durant has that Carmelo Anthony-like versatility for FIBA play that he can score both inside and out.
Durant's up to 10 points right now. We mentioned him re-upping with Oklahoma City for the next 5 seasons. He did so on his Twitter account. There was no hour-long special necessary for Durant. He wants to stay in Oklahoma City. GM Sam Presti also re-upped. There are 3 members of the Oklahoma City Thunder on this team.
They were a 50-win team this year, and they've got the fans in Oklahoma really excited.
Rose dishes maybe a little bit too much passing that time around. Here's a three by Stephen Curry, and that's his game.
You know what that reminded me of? I remember being at the LeBron James Skills Academy about 3 years ago, passing for Steph Curry in a shooting drill, and the ball always went through the middle of the rim without hitting the rim, right through the net. That's what that three reminded me of.
Well, his dad could shoot the ball well in his day, huh?
Yes, he could. 16 years a pro, Del Curry. Don't forget his little brother Seth, now eligible at Duke this year, averaging 20 points a game.
Well, the USA Basketball Tour continues in New York City as Team USA takes on France live from Madison Square Garden, Sunday, August 15th, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
And that's going to be a part of that World Basketball Festival. They're going to be up at Rucker Park.
A transition and a foul in you don't expect to see a lot of that. Players concerned with each other's safety, we would think. Andre Iguodala fouled in transition.
Nate McMillan not smiling because he's the defensive coordinator for Coach K. This is going to be a very loosey-goosey game, and it's really more entertainment for the fans. They've only been together 4 days practicing. You'll see a lot of wide-open play, but we know that when you get to play in Turkey against the quality of teams like Argentina, Spain, and Greece, you're going to have to be much more deliberate, much more disciplined. You're going to see some zone. You're going to see man. It's going to be a different type of ball game.
Iguodala has added some muscle this offseason. In his words, he's all swolled up. Says the goal is to be more of a defensive stopper. He's really embracing that concept here on Team USA. 7 minutes to go, second quarter. Driving layup finds the bottom of the basket. Jeff Green around the basket. Friend, we've played about 13 minutes and change here. What's the one theme you've picked up on so far?
Well, I think obviously the athleticism, particularly in the backcourt, but that doesn't mean that this team doesn't have some concerns, obviously. Not a lot of scoring inside. In fact, JaVale McGee's got 6 points in the paint. But there's not going to be the guy that you can throw it into inside. This team is going to have to score off its defense, turnovers.
There's a turnover right there, and this is Billups in the front court, calls his own number. And they'll say the ball is last touched by Russell Westbrook.
You know, I just want to remind you, Kevin, that the team that defeated Spain 118-107, that thrilling gold medal game, we've lost 12 players from that team. The only real key player that Spain has lost is Paul Gasol. But they have 7 guys back that either have NBA experience or who have been drafted into the NBA. Guys like Ricky Rubio and Garbajosa, Calderon, Navarro. Very dangerous teams. Argentina has a lot of guys back. Greece, of course. We talked about the inexperience of Team USA.
Durant's pass off the mark. You surprised me this week. You said Team USA, if they are the favorite, they're not the prohibitive favorite.
No, there's no way. There's gonna come a point in time in 2 or 3 of those games where they're gonna really struggle and have to get over the hump. Of course, we think back to 2006 when they weren't able to guard Greece in that second half. But you got to play through that.
Mayo ahead to Billups, and he misses the chippy. Here's Durant into the paint, and boy, another turnover. Not quite sure it's as much the defense as it is a team still trying to get in rhythm, and another one back and forth they go. This is Curry, lefty layup, and he's got 8.
How about Steph Curry? Shooting guard at Davidson, prolific career, top 25 in NCAA history in scoring. He's made a nice adjustment to becoming a full-time point guard.
Jerry Colangelo said he may well be the team's best shooter as they get an over and back violation called on Rudy Gay. Well, round the bases with ESPN Sunday and Monday night. First, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals take on division rival the Chicago Cubs on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. Then ESPN's Monday Night Baseball, 7 Eastern, a Triple Crown contender. Miguel Cabrera leads the Tigers against Evan Longoria and the Rays. Both games also available on ESPN3.com. We'll take a timeout. USA Basketball Showcase from Vegas continues. we take a look at the present, we look back at the past. Former member of Dream Team, Clyde Drexler, and also Chris Mullin on hand tonight, taking in the festivities from Las Vegas, Nevada. You want to talk about two guys who could fill up the basket.
You're right. Chris Mullin from my neighborhood in Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York. Another member of that Dream Team, St. John's great. You think about the Dream Team, and that was the first year that that FIBA went to professional players. They won 55 straight games, the NBA did, until 2002. Since then, we're 47-7, but that was a long streak. And the world has obviously caught up, and we've seen it manifest itself in the NBA. 82 international players this season to start the year in the NBA. It has become a global game.
You can bet Coach K would love to get his hands on those guys in their prime, right? Chris Mullin from the perimeter.
He tried to.
Yeah.
He tried to recruit Chris Mullin. That was before Duke was Duke, and he was heartbroken when Chris Mullin decided to stay home and play for the St. John's Redmen at that time.
At that time, yeah, what a dynamite career Chris Mullin had, both with St. John's and then onto the pros with the Golden State Warriors. In the midst of a dynamite career is Kevin Durant. He's having a terrific game, but that one rims out. Here's Rajon Rondo back running the point. We talked about the tremendous depth at the guard position. Although big picture, you wonder how many of these players will be a part down the road of the 2012 Olympic team. But Rudy Gay stating his case to make this team here in the FIBA World Championships.
When you look at guys like Rudy Gay and Kevin Durant, although they have not represented the country prior to this year, they have been part of Team USA. They practiced with the 2008 team. They have built a pipeline of young players, both at the NBA and college level. And they've indoctrinated guys like Gay and Durant. Jeff Green, Derrick Rose have all been part of this program over the last couple of years, Kevin.
Rudy Gay leading all scorers with 11 points, helping keep the blue team in this game as Eric Gordon knocks down the free throw.
One of the interesting things this week was Jerry Colangelo, Coach K, invited 20 college players out, coached by Jay Wright of Villanova, Lorenzo Romar, guys like Kyle Singler, Nolan Smith from Duke. John Lure from Wisconsin was very impressive. They got a chance to scrimmage against this team. In fact, they were the scout team. They ran a lot of the offenses that this USA team will see when they get to Turkey. But a great way, again, to indoctrinate these good young players we have into the system. There you see some of those guys courtside. Chris Wright from Dayton right there in the middle.
Well, the future is bright, and Fran highlighted, documented just how much success that the younger USA teams have had in international competition.
Well, the under-17 team won the World Championship in Hamburg, Germany, and they smoked the competition.
That is Mayo in transition.
Another one of those guys that has come up through the ranks. He played in the Hoop Summit in 2007, representing the USA. Hey, and kudos to that under-17 team, coached by Don Showalter, terrific high school coach in Iowa. And I talked to one NBA scout, Kevin, who said they had at least 8 first-round picks on Team USA that won the world title in under-17. And they were a great team, not just a great collection of individual players.
Open look for Eric Gordon, who has seen some minutes, and it's paid off.
It has, because Eric Gordon is one of those guys that's fighting for a spot on this roster.
Jerry Colangelo said during the week Eric Gordon was terrific, made it a point to say that. Also praised his defense. We've seen a lot of offense in here in transition. It's the offense, and the beneficiary of the alley-oop is Andre Iguodala.
Well, there's Steph Curry again. Remember, he had that reputation playing for Bob McKillop at Davidson as being a great scorer, but he's got a great basketball IQ. Of course, you'd expect that with a son of a player who played 16 years in the league, in Del Curry. I mentioned earlier his brother Seth, who transferred from Liberty University, will be a sophomore at Duke this year.
Alley-oop, and it's Kevin Durant the throwdown.
Well, they've got a great crowd at the Thomas & Mack Center, over 10,000 people. And we mentioned earlier that the execution, the discipline, probably not going to be there tonight, but certainly the highlights are going to be there.
12 points for Kevin Durant, the white team. A strong start here at the Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, Team White out to a 7-point lead, and Fran in the midst of a 7-0 run.
Well, we talked about the athleticism and versatility of this team. One of the strengths, Team USA. Here's the lob, and Andre Iguodala. This is a guy that played 39 minutes a game this year for the Sixers. And, of course, Kevin Durant, the guy that everybody has talked about all week. He doesn't want to be the face of this team, but it's going to be hard to avoid when you think of the kind of prolific scorer, all-around player he's developing into. Can you believe he won't be 22 until the fall?
Incredible to think 30 points a game. And to finish your point, he says, I'm just another guy helping to bring a gold back to the U.S. It's been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. Talked about having to sacrifice a little bit more than he does on his Oklahoma City team, be a leader. And it's surprising to hear that from such a young player as Kevin Love tries from deep.
Well, he came from a great family. Of course, played at the University of Texas 1 year, where he was a John Wooden Award winner, averaging almost 26 points a game.
Others are going to call a blocking foul on Stephen Curry as Rondo made his way to the basket. Well, rivalries are renewed as NASCAR's best head to the most storied track in racing. Jimmy Johnson looks to tie Jeff Gordon as the winningest driver at the Brickyard, while Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski are back in Cup cars for the first time since their feud was reignited. The Brickyard 400, Sunday 1 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at noon.
Those guys really don't like each other, do they? Getting into it every week. It's like pro wrestling.
Defensive driving. Doesn't anyone talk defensive driving? Not a lot of defense here as the three-pointer goes down and the blue cuts the lead down to 7.
Boy, Andre Iguodala has been very, very solid.
And here's a steal. White team, Eric Gordon, open court. And Gordon's got 13 points. White now open up a 12-point cushion.
You know what that reminds me of? I'll tell you a guy who's going to have a great chance to make that 2012 team will be Eric Gordon's teammate this year, Blake Griffin, who's got a chance, along with John Wall, to be NBA Rookie of the Year.
As Rondo converts the layup, how many times did Boston Celtic fans and Laker fans, for that matter, see that throughout the course of the playoffs?
I got a chance to spend some time in Vegas this week with Doc Rivers, and he said that Rondo is probably the highest IQ player he's ever coached, and that's a heck of a compliment. Stubborn at times, no question about that, but is off to a great start to his career.
As Derrick Rose throws it down. Well, it was interesting to see the transformation of the Celtics going from the team of Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce really to Rondo throughout the playoffs. Did not have the NBA Finals that he had in the first 3 rounds of the Eastern Conference playoffs, but boy, he was dynamite in the postseason.
Well, he gets into the lane and got to improve that mid-range jumper. That would certainly help him, but he's on the way to stardom, obviously.
Rudy Gay cleaning up the Brook Lopez miss. We dip under 30 seconds to go here in the second quarter. White team a 10-point lead. They've been the more consistent of the two teams on both ends of the floor.
And we talked about the youth of this team. If you think about it, a lot of these guys would just be finishing up college or in their 3rd and 4th year.
5 on the shot clock. Rose twisting towards the basket. Open 3 by Danny Granger. No, Rose the rebound, and he's going to score the final 2 points of this first half. Now Derrick Rose, Kevin Durant, and Eric Gordon leading the charge for the white team as we have hit the halfway point in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is the USA Basketball Showcase presented by Nike. 56-44, Team White in front. Halftime. Back in the studios we head. Jonathan Coachman coming up. Welcome back to the 2010 USA Basketball Showcase presented by Nike. The white team closing out the first half on a 16-4 run. They lead this game at the half by a score of 56-44. Back inside the ESPN halftime studios, Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla. Fran, we started the broadcast by calling this team reconstruction. What does the building look like through for the first 20 minutes of this game?
Well, we've seen the athleticism we thought we would, but I don't think Coach K is going to take this film and from an X and O standpoint really get much out of it. This is more of an exhibition for the fans tonight to get these guys to get out on the court, but we did see outstanding athleticism in terms of the backcourt. And remember, the highlights we show you now, there's not a player in these highlights that's older than 23 years old. You started with Rudy Gay, first of all, knocking down a shot. And then O.J. Mayo, who's had a very solid first half. He's a guy like Eric Gordon, fighting, I think, to make this team. His offensive play really gives him a chance, especially from the perimeter. And Gordon as well has been red hot from the perimeter. And then we talked about the strength of the backcourt of Team USA. And I say strength, Kevin, I mean that. You've got to be physical in FIBA play to be able to get to the rim. But it's really been a highlight show for the most part. A chance to get these guys running up and down and getting out on the court. And when you look at this team, really, you're not going to get a lot out of a night like this, but you are going to see the athleticism that Coach K can build this team around as he gets ready for Turkey.
Well, some of the usual suspects, some of the unusual suspects leading the way offensively. You highlighted Kevin Durant having a big first half, along with Eric Gordon and Mike Krzyzewski with some decisions to make. And Fran, as they went to the halftime locker room, knowing this is an exhibition, knowing that these teams are still looking to find themselves, but also knowing that they will be playing other international competition coming up, what's the theme you think that the coaches passed along at the half?
Well, I think that you have to talk about being able to defend a little bit better. You see right off the bat, they come out a little more pressure on the ball. And I think when you give up 56 points in the first half, Coach K probably made that a point. He's a smart guy. He's going to make sure he gets his point across. This team is going to have to win with defense.
Kevin Durant that time upping the White lead to 14 points.
Now this is now an 18-4 run for the White. Blue had tied it at 40.
Gay swings it, and it just seems that the Blue has not really been in sync yet at this game.
One of the things Coach K did in practice this week, and I was there for the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday practices, lots of different combinations. So you're going to see sloppy play. They'll get down to an 8 or 9 man rotation once they get really serious about putting this team together.
Blue with 12 turnovers, White just 6 as Durant fires a 3.
Kevin, there's no question that we'll be the most athletic team in Istanbul in Turkey. But this team will grow as a team, and when they get to New York and then overseas, Coach K will buckle down on the defense. Mike D'Antoni in charge of the offense.
And Durant loses the handle that time. Here in transition, it's Gay. He loses the handle, and it touches the end line. Fran, for those watching this wanting to know exactly how many of these players will be in the fold here, both for the World Championships, but also down the road for the Olympics, I mean, how many realistic spots will open up for the 2012?
I think there'll be 5 or 6. I do think the core will come back. Carmelo and Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Paul. I think those guys will be back. Kobe, I think, will play maybe his last chance to represent the United States. How about this guy? Is he unbelievable? This guy will make the team, okay? I'll tell you that right now. In fact, Kevin Durant will start on that team in 2012. Remember, Dwayne Wade came off the bench in 2008.
19 points already for Durant as yeoman's work under the basket by JaVale McGee. He'll head to the free throw line. Coach K says Kevin Durant is the only player guaranteed to make the final cut here.
Well, I think there's a number of guys that will make the team. I think there are guys coming in like Chauncey Billups and Lamar Odom that really had secured spots because their roles are not just as what they can do on the floor, but the leadership they provide. But it's interesting, Kevin, answering your question about who will be around in 2012, I think you look at a guy like Derrick Rose, a guy like Russell Westbrook, who's had a very good week of practice. Blake Griffin is a guy we talked about earlier who I think has a chance to be a very good player as an NBA rookie this year, and he's still got another year to go before he starts to get into the pipeline of Team USA.
JaVale McGee, if you're unfamiliar with the name, he is a young player, just 2 years of NBA experience, member of the Washington Wizards.
You know where he gets that ability from is his mom, Pam McGee, who was a great player at USC back in the USC Trojans heyday.
Here's the driving layup. Oh, an open look, but Danny Granger misfires. Here's McGee again. Rejected by Granger on the defensive. And there's some of the defense we've been looking for.
One of the things you'll see with Team USA if you really study them as they get ready to play, a lot of switching, a lot of ball pressure. They can switch at 4 different spots on the court. That's going to be part of their defensive attack.
Tomahawk by Kevin Durant from Danny Granger, and the White open up a 16-point lead. Durant has 21.
There's no telling how much better Kevin Durant is going to get it over time. 20 points as a rookie, 25 as a second-year player, and 30 this year.
That was Russell Westbrook. And again, the coach is awfully high on him. You're high on him. Why is he such a good fit?
Well, he's such a dynamic athlete. This is a guy that was a shooting guard at UCLA. Remember, they had Derek Collison, now an outstanding rookie this year with the Hornets. And Russell Westbrook is a point guard in the making for Oklahoma City. Sam Presti and his staff did a great job of scouting him and saw the ability to be a point guard. He's been outstanding so far.
And he's looking for his offense here. He'll head back to the free throw line. Another look at Durant in transition, and good luck stopping that.
Good feed from Danny Granger, a guy that I think will make this team. I mentioned Danny Granger last 2 seasons for the Indiana Pacers, averaging 25 points a game. Really good three-point shooter.
Yeah, if it's possible to average 24, 25 points a game and fly under the radar, Danny Granger has seemed to do it. He did miss Thursday's practice with a bruised chin. He missed 20 games last season with a torn foot tendon. And I think you're right. Outside of Kevin Durant, maybe the one player on this team, Fran, that has the best chance of exploding for points.
Well, Rudy Gay is a scorer, but the problem with Rudy at times is he's a volume shooter. There's no question he's an elite talent. But I think there's room. There's that drive. We talked about the strength you need in FIBA play to get to the rim. If you're looking at a guard, if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you want guys that can hand check and that can also handle being hand checked.
There's a guy that can fill it up as well. Chauncey Billups, the 3, and the scoring fast and furious here to start the third quarter.
Now you're looking at a guy that's 9th all-time in NBA history in three-point shots made. He's over 1,500 threes now in his career.
And Billups referred to himself as Durant knocks down another 3. And Billups referred to himself as the elder statesman on this year's team. He'll turn 34 in September.
His nickname is OG, old guy.
Can you be old at 33, friend?
I wish I was 33.
It's to be 33 again. Well, the USA Basketball Tour continues in New York City as Team USA takes on France live from Madison Square Garden Sunday, August 15th, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
No, France will not have Tony Parker. He's going to sit out the World Championships this year, as well as a number of NBA stars. Ginobili won't play. Nowitzki won't play. Andrew Bogut won't play. Tony Parker is going to sit it out. Gasol will not play. So a lot of NBA stars, riggers of a 100-game schedule, are going to sit it out.
And you highlighted the USA players who are part of the USA basketball program but not participating this summer. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Dwight Howard, Chris Paul, Darren Williams, Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony. Not a single player from the 2008 U.S. Olympic team will take part in the 2010 World Championships in Turkey.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, 11 players on this roster, 22 years of age or younger. It will be no walk in the park to win this tournament because of the experience of teams like Argentina, Greece, Spain, Australia, sneaky good this year. But there is a program in place for Team USA now. These young guys have a chance to represent the country for the next 6 to 8 years in international play.
Here's Derrick Rose, the floater.
That's one of those guys that will. And I think Derrick Rose, 2 years from now, is an excellent shot, along with Kevin Durant, of being a starter on that 2012 team.
Rose up to 10 points. Rudy Gay has 15. Kevin Durant's got 10 in the third quarter alone. And Chauncey Billups now finding the range. He's dialed in from long distance.
They call him Mr. Big Shot, the MVP of the 2004 NBA Finals.
Member of the Denver Nuggets, new Nugget Al Harrington. He was blown away by Chauncey Billups' work ethic as Chandler cleans things up. Harrington said that Billups is in the gym 3 times a day. That's like your workout regimen, right?
I'm in the restaurant 3 times a day.
Three-pointer fired up by Jeff Green, and no.
See, one of the things that'll happen when they get to play FIBA basketball is teams will not send anybody to the offensive glass. And so you won't get the runouts that you're getting in a game like this.
Good-looking finish by Danny Granger. Up and under layup. Well, we've talked about the youth on this team and the experience that other nations have, Fran. So how does Mike Krzyzewski and his youthful team overcome that?
Well, he's got to figure out a way to play. And what he talked about this week is being a pressure team on the defensive end. Turnovers leading to offense.
More on that coming up. The white team with a 15-point cushion. Kevin Durant leading the charge. He's got 24. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, the 2010 USA Basketball Showcase presented by Nike. Team-wide a 15-point lead, 4 minutes, 22 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Let's take a look at our State Farm Good Neighbor assist of the game, and we've seen a good many in this one, Fran.
Well, there have been some unselfish play, but anytime you get the ball at the rim for a guy like Kevin Durant, good look by Andre Iguodala. This is a guy that can score baskets, can rebound, also very good in terms of making plays for his teammates. Andre Iguodala, who played for Doug Collins this year. If you remember back in 2008, before they left for Beijing, Doug Collins gave a very emotional speech to the Redeem team. He was on that team in 1972 that lost to the Soviet Union. Very controversial finish.
Like 3 different stoppages of play and restarts, and that 1972 Olympic team has still never claimed their silver medals. That's obviously an incident in USA basketball history that still cuts deep to this day to the members of that team, coached by Hank Iba.
That's right, the great Hank Iba. And last year, when back in 2008, I should say, when they won the gold medal in Beijing, all of the players took their gold medals. They went over to Doug Collins and put them around his neck. Of course, I saw Doug at training camp this week. He's a fixture.
Good-looking move by Eric Gordon, and he draws the foul on the perimeter. Fran, of all the players who have played well in this game, and Rudy Gay, obviously Kevin Durant we expected, but Gordon I think has been the biggest surprise.
Well, it's not a surprise in the sense that he's already a proven solid young NBA player, but when you have the amount of guard play that Mike Krzyzewski has, you've got to do something to separate yourself. Eric Gordon's got that strength we talked about, and he is a long-range sniper.
Clippers have a new head coach in Vinny Del Negro. They will welcome Blake Griffin back into the fold, of course. Didn't get the big piece they were hoping for, but neither did a few other teams. He ended up on South Beach, taking his talent, as he put it, to South Beach. Here's Billups. Already has 2 3-pointers in this quarter. Kevin Love working the glass.
That's a Paul Silas type rebound. He actually boxed his man inside the lane. There's Kevin Love again. There's why he is a guy that's probably going to make this roster.
Love led the NBA in offensive rebound percentage as the Blue will maintain possession. Led the NBA in offensive rebound percentage in 2009. Terrific outlet passer. You think about the all-time outlet passers, you think of a different UCLA big man than Kevin Love.
Well, I think of Bill Walton, but I also think of Wes Unseld.
We are weaving in some old school references here for the younger viewers, Fred, as Love is fouled on his way to the basket.
Well, and that's because Kevin Love's dad, Stan Love, played with Wes Unseld with the Baltimore Bullets. Stan Love at a Morningside High School. You know who his high school coach was?
Who's that?
Jim Herrick.
Wow.
And Stan's brother, Mike Love, the lead singer of the Beach Boys. Of course, that's my ear and not yours. But no, Kevin is Lake Oswego High School up in the Portland area. Outstanding season at UCLA, led them to the Final Four.
Well, rivalries are renewed as NASCAR's best head to the most storied track in racing. Jimmy Johnson looks to tie Jeff Gordon as the winningest driver at the Brickyard. The Brickyard 400 tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at noon. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Kevin Love up to 6-4 on the game. As good pressure defense in the backcourt by Rajon Rondo, and a terrific defensive player. It's been a quiet night offensively for Rondo, but a member of the first-team all-defensive team this past season, led the NBA in steals as well.
It's interesting because at practice this week, when the college guys came out to scrimmage the USA team, it was amazing. Rondo and Westbrook made some of those really good college guards look like little boys out there. Couldn't get the ball over half court at times, but great experience for those college guys. Actually, Shelvin Mack from Butler, Jacob Pullen impressed me from Kansas State. Kemba Walker from UConn got a chance to play against these guys. Again, it's all part of building that USA basketball program. Everybody's a part of it.
Here's Lamar Odom in the paint. Boy, he's pestered by Billups, but they get the foul called on Billups. Odom, you know, for some might think it's a curious selection. He's been in the league for 11 years already, a part of the Lakers championship run the past 2 seasons. He said coming into camp on Tuesday, quote, "I'm in horrible shape." He said he took some time off following the Lakers title run, that he boxed a bit, but he admitted that this was his first basketball activity. Billups, nice bounce pass down low and able to finish, and a foul is Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay, when you think back to Carmelo Anthony in 2008, this is what we talk about. Rudy Gay is one of those guys like Durant that can play both inside and out in international play. He's a small forward for the Grizzlies, but he's got the size, he's got the quickness around the rim. There aren't that many centers that are going to be in this tournament that are going to give Team USA a lot of problems. Maybe an Oberto from Argentina, who's now 35. From the Washington Wizards, Marc Gasol, who's an outstanding young big guy. Paul's brother. There's not great centers. You don't have Bogut. You don't have Nowitzki, although he's not really a center.
Rudy Gay up to 18 points, and the White enjoy a 10-point cushion. Gordon kicks. Wallace thought about a three. He's tripped up, and Rudy Gay comes up limping right here. The players appear to have locked feet on that drive.
Number 9, Rudy Gay.
Well, Gerald Wallace is one of those guys that's been pretty quiet tonight. When you look at a guy like him, has continued to improve, has been an all-defensive NBA player. Helped Larry Brown start that resurgence down in Charlotte a little bit, along with Steven Jackson.
It was knees, not feet. It was knees, and Gay came up limping on that one. Yeah, Gerald Wallace making his first All-Star team this past season. Frequent guest of ours on NBA Coast to Coast. As Coast to Coast goes the blue team, and Russell Westbrook fouled on his way to the basket. There is Gerald Wallace. Franny offered the most honest assessment of the chance to play in Turkey. He said, "I'm not a big overseas guy. I'm kind of frightened about that."
Well, he's a small-town guy from Childersburg, Alabama. Spent 1 year playing for the Crimson Tide.
A population of under 4,600 in Childersburg, Alabama. He has 2 community parks in Childersburg dedicated in his name, does Gerald Wallace.
Coached by Mark Gottfried, who's now an ESPN analyst. And we haven't seen much of Lamar Odom tonight either. And I think Coach K already knows what he can do. He played a lot of minutes for the Lakers this year. I don't think there's any question he'll be on this team.
Fran, with your expectations coming into the game tonight and what you've seen, how have they matched up?
Well, this is what I expected. This is really more of an exhibition than anything else. And if you're looking for, crisp play, crisp half-court offense, you're not going to get it. I've been to a couple of these blue-white scrimmages now, and it's basically up and down basketball. Get a chance to play in front of a great crowd. And so I don't think, I mean this sincerely, I don't think Coach K is going to spend a lot of time watching the film of this game. They've got some decisions to make. I think the way Jerry Colangelo and Mike Krzyzewski described it, they're going to try to get down to 14 or 15 players, take them to New York in early August, and then you don't have to have your 12-man roster until the day before the tournament starts on August 28th. Now, obviously, if you have an injury and you have 12 and you're down to 11, you may have to bring somebody over to Turkey, but they expect to have their 12-man team before they leave to go to Greece and Spain for an exhibition tour.
You know who hopes Mike Krzyzewski watches tape of this game? I think it's Eric Gordon.
Yes.
16 points. Boy, he has played awfully well. Nate McMillan.
Well, he's not smiling because Nate McMillan's a defensive coordinator.
Right.
Again, you know, they'll get down to serious business, I think, when they start their training camp in New York. They've had to ferret out who they think can fit in. And, you know, it's not a fantasy league. When you put together a team, you're not looking for the 10 best scorers. You're looking for guys that can be even good 9th, 10th, and 11th men on the roster.
Here's Gerald Wallace to the basket. He connects. And I think that speaks to your point. You know, a player like Stephen Curry might find a role. A player like Kevin Love, who's not thought of as an NBA All-Star as of yet, but they play the style that in the international game bodes well for Team USA.
No, that's exactly right. You're looking for pieces to the puzzle. You're going to play about 8 guys. Remember, there's only a 40-minute game in FIBA basketball. So players aren't going to get tired as easily. You can play an 8-man rotation. And those last 4 guys have got to be good team guys.
Love working the glass. It's Gay who comes down with it. Fights and a power layup by Rudy Gay.
Think back to 2008. You had guys like Michael Redd, Carlos Boozer, Tayshaun Prince that were terrific role players.
Points in the paint favoring the white team, 30-16. That's 14 more and 14 on the scoreboard. Throw down in transition by O.J. Mayo as the blue pulled within 12.
And started with a steal by Rondo. Again, we talked about the pressure defense. Got guys like Rondo, Westbrook, Derrick Rose. And you won't see it right now because they're pretty tired.
Shot clock just behind the game clock as we dip under 7 seconds. Wallace from the corner, in and out. Love controls the rebound.
Look at that outlet, huh?
Well, he did not beat the buzzer. Would not have counted anyway, but you're right, the outlet pass. Another one of those intangibles Kevin Love brings to the table. 3 quarters in the book from Las Vegas, Nevada. Mike Krzyzewski has seen a dynamite effort from the white team. Kevin Durant, Eric Gordon and company out to a 3rd quarter lead as we continue here on ESPN2. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla back on the USA Basketball Showcase presented by Nike. How about this terrific scene in Las Vegas, Nevada tonight? Members of the United States Air Force and different branches of the military being honored. And how about the reception by not only the coaches, but the players here as well, Fran?
One of the things that Mike Krzyzewski, a West Point grad, has brought to USA Basketball is pride in the uniform. And this is really what it's all about when you think of those young men and women serving our country in the armed forces. And he, since he took over in 2006, this has always been a tradition. Honor the people that are serving our country, and of course, it makes wearing that USA on the front of the basketball jersey a little bit more meaningful.
Something that many of the players, in fact, most all the players have talked about is the pride that they take in wearing it, the honor that it is to play for USA Basketball, and Coach K and his staff have done a terrific job in instilling that.
Well, when you think back to 2002, where USA finished 6th in the World Championships, 2004 in Athens, which was really a debacle. It all started in 2005 when Jerry Colangelo took over as the managing director of Team USA. He hired Mike Krzyzewski. And as I mentioned earlier, from the youth level and high school, college players on up now, a lot of young players want to wear that USA Basketball uniform, and that's a big change.
Here's Kevin Durant to Lamar Odom, who puts it in.
Well, you'll see a lot of that. You'll see a lot of pick-and-roll basketball. Versatility of Lamar Odom. He's going to play some center for Team USA.
As Mayo tries and converts a 3. Well, to finish the point that we were making, Odom, one of his quotes this week, I thought about rest, but I can do that in another life, he said. He said, this doesn't happen all the time, so I need to be here.
I've known Lamar Odom since he was a 16-year-old sophomore at Christ the King High School in New York.
One-handed throwdown by Russell Westbrook.
Some of those USA college guards I mentioned, they will see Russell Westbrook in their sleep after this week and the job he did defensively. And the one difference, you know, that when you look at the pressure that USA's guards can put on opponents, there's that pick and roll right off the timeout to start the fourth quarter. Durant and Odom. But the one thing they need, if you're going to pressure out front, is you got to have somebody that can protect the lane. Could be Brook Lopez. What's going to happen is you're going to extend. See, they're going to blow out some teams, but they're not going to be able to blow out teams like Argentina and Spain with just pressure defense.
How about Kevin Durant working down low when he draws the foul yet again? 30 points per game this season. He led the NBA, but 7.6 rebounds per game. The former Rookie of the Year, All-Star, and NBA scoring leader this past season. Has not disappointed. Fred, he's got 24 points.
No, he's got only one flaw right now playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder in the state of Oklahoma. He's a Longhorn.
Yeah.
But I think Thunder fans have overlooked that. Anytime you go up to, when I go up and do an Oklahoma or Oklahoma State game in Norman or Stillwater, if it's an off night, there's a chance Kevin Durant's going to be sitting in the stands. This young guy is a basketball junkie.
And we talked about Durant. Both of us have gotten the chance to speak with him on different occasions. Really seems to be the genuine article.
Well, we mentioned it earlier, raised right, had one great season at Texas, still goes back in the summer, working on completing his degree at the University of Texas.
Good-looking feed to Brook Lopez.
The New Jersey Nets trying to restart that franchise. They're going to be moving to Brooklyn in a couple of years, and they've got a center in Brook Lopez.
Well, Tyson Chandler working the windows, and now the big men putting their stamp on this game a bit here in the fourth quarter. It's taken some time. Durant to Chandler again, basket and a foul, and that's the athleticism that fans have seen from Tyson Chandler in Charlotte and Chicago, and now they'll get to see it in Dallas.
Well, he's 7'1", about 235 pounds. You remember all those alley-oops that Chris Paul threw him? Here's an example right here. Remember, he's got international experience as he played on that 2007 FIBA Americas Championship team. And he will join the Dallas Mavericks, give them a 1-2 combination up front with Brandon Hayward. Jay Kidd, of course, the point guard there, who was an intern this week at the training camp. He was sort of a graduate assistant to the coaching staff, spent some time relaying his wisdom. Of course, he is 58-0, Jason Kidd, in international play, and he reminds everybody on the team of that.
I'm sure he does. Here's Lopez down low as there seems to be a concerted effort, Fran, of working the ball inside. We've seen most of the game played on the perimeter, guards driving to the basket, but now the big men are getting involved.
Well, when you don't have an inside scorer that you can throw it to, you can still get points in the paint off dribble penetration. You got a guy like Chandler or Love inside. You're going to see a lot of dribble penetration by these guards getting into the paint, dishing off.
Well, it's been an offensive showcase throughout much of the game, but you get the sense as we dip under 8 minutes to go in this one that even though it's an exhibition, there's still pride on the line here, and these players are going to play the final 8 minutes in this game.
Well, pride and spots on that roster. You know, there's 4 or 5 guys that are going to be sent home soon.
Durant loses the handle, but they'll say it was last touched by the blue team.
Yeah, we talked about the inexperience, but also the lack of continuity. Remember that Team USA in the FIBA Americas Championship was the same starting lineup that played in the Olympics the next year.
Here's the steal by Rondo, kicks to Mayo. Ranger the rebound, and the White will look to push. Derrick Rose gives, Durant throws it down one-handed.
All that is exciting, but as I think as a coach, you're not going to see much of that against the really quality teams in Turkey because they're not going to send anybody to the glass. They're going to give up the offensive rebound opportunity to get 5 guys back. So this is great in an exhibition like this. You can certainly see our athleticism. And we always love watching Kevin Durant in action, but this is a little unrealistic, at least when they play the best teams on the schedule.
Durant up to 28 points in this game.
He may not like it, but he's going to be the face of this program.
Well, there's Rajon Rondo converting the three. And again, we've talked about it. If Rondo has a weakness, it might be shooting the basketball. But that time, that release looked good.
Well, it's a shorter three. It's only 20 feet, 6 1/4 inches, unlike 23.9 from the top of the key or the wing. So shorter shot for those guards. Uh-oh.
Well, an open look, good-looking crossover dribble by Russell Westbrook. He'll end up at the free throw line. Round the bases with ESPN Sunday on Monday night. First, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals take on division rival, the Chicago Cubs, on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. And on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball, 7 Eastern, Triple Crown contender Miguel Cabrera leads the Tigers up against Evan Longoria and the Rays.
Hey, can I pick the Cubs manager now that Lou Piniella has decided to retire?
Who do you got?
It's Rhino. It's got to be Ryan Sandberg.
He has lobbied for the job.
Well, he's coaching their AAA franchise, one of the all-time Cub greats, Hall of Famer.
Bob Brenly, their radio broadcaster, is
Another guy.
has thrown his hat in the ring.
An Ohio University graduate.
I thought it was interesting. They asked Yankees manager Joe Girardi this week about the job. He said it's not something he wants to talk about right now. That's not known.
You know, he's a Northwestern graduate, Joe Girardi, and he played with the Cubs.
He did. Durant behind the back with even an international play, friend. You can't get away with that. Pull-up attempt by Westbrook, lost the handle, but the blue team maintains possession. How about the length here in this matchup?
Well, you see, that's a switch out. They're gonna, like I said, they can switch at 4 different spots. Switching will be a big part of their defense, especially when you play teams that run continuity offense. You want to take them out of their rhythm.
Rondo, nice feed. Jeff Green, no. Second effort, no. And it'll be last touched by Russell Westbrook.
How'd you like to be Sam Presti in the Oklahoma City Thunder when you think of Kevin Durant, Jeff Green? Up, can't do that, Kevin. And Russell Westbrook to build around. And you add the young man from the Congo, Serge Ibaka, who is only 20 years old, and Nick Collison, a 50-win team this year, took the LA Lakers to 6 games.
They did. They added Morris Peterson, Daquan Cook as well. They drafted Cole Aldrich out of Kansas. So the pieces are continuing to be shaped in Oklahoma City in a bright future.
And the big thing is quality guys. Quality guys. The fans in Oklahoma have really embraced that team. The Ford Center is a great place to watch an NBA game. It's kind of like a college arena. And, of course, they've got Kevin Durant locked up for the next 6 years. This guy's going to be pretty good as well. You know, Russell Westbrook wasn't even a top 100 player coming out of high school.
In 2 NBA seasons, Westbrook has played every single game, member of the all-rookie first team in 2009 as White forces a turnover, but how about Rudy Gay taking it right back? Westbrook. And this one stolen by Iguodala. Well, the pace is quickening, and so too are the number of turnovers.
This looks like a fast break drill that we used to run when I was coaching, and I used to have to close my eyes sometimes.
14-point game, the White in front. 5 minutes, 24 seconds to go from Las Vegas. 14-point White lead here in the fourth quarter, under 6 minutes to play. Fran Fraschilla, as we take a look at the differences between NBA and FIBA rules, explain it to our audience.
Well, you've got a number of things you've got to be concerned about. The biggest one, obviously, is you can touch the ball on the rim, but 4 10-minute periods, it's a shorter game. The court is a little bit shorter. The three-point line is shorter. Fouls, obviously, 6 to 5. So there are some adjustments. Remember, you can also play a pure zone in FIBA, unlike the NBA where you have the defensive 3-second rule. So it's an adjustment for NBA players. We've made it quite well. There are 3 FIBA officials tonight. And interestingly, Kevin, on October 1st, FIBA is going to do away with the trapezoid lane and go to the NBA lane, which I think is great. They're going to increase the three-point line. They're also going to add the timeout at the end of the game in the last 2 minutes. You can bring it all the way up to the top of the key like you can in the NBA. So there's been a great effort to combine international rules with NBA and college rules, and I like that.
Well, they use the 24-second shot clock in the NBA and international play, 35 seconds in college, and you'd like to even see that change.
I'm going to write an article soon. I believe the 24-second clock should be played at every level of basketball. I had this epiphany over in Italy this year watching the international players, the young guys, getting ready for the NBA draft, and it would force young players to have to make quick decisions, every 24 seconds. You've got to be able to read pick and rolls, read dribble penetration. I watch AAU games right now, and teams with big leads hold the ball, make their opponents come out of the zone. It's just stupid. Let's go to the shot clock at every level of basketball in America.
Andre Iguodala buries the three without much time running off the clock. Boy, Pete Carrill somewhere must be wondering if he agrees with that.
But you know what? Smart teams will still win games. More talented teams will win most of the time anyway. But if you think about it, a good defensive team will force bad shots versus teams who can't accurately handle the shot clock or execute the shot clock. So
what about executing offenses, though? I mean,
you have to react every 24 seconds. I think it's great. Our USA under-17 team just won by an average of 40 points in Germany, and they had no trouble with the shot clock.
Tyson Chandler has had an impressive fourth quarter here.
He gives you shot blocking, rebounding, and he gives you dunk off dribble drives.
This is Rondo. Oh, nifty feed, and Jeff Green finishes up his own miss. Oh, spectacular pass that time by Rajon Rondo.
You sometimes think that Rajon Rondo should be playing three-card monte on the Las Vegas Strip, the way he's got that cleverness about him.
The sleight of hand and the tremendously long arms. Chandler rocks the rim with a two-handed tomahawk.
That actually looked like a Team USA zone right there. It was either zone or bad defense, either way.
Here's Rondo again. Boy, he's been looking for his offense more here in the fourth quarter, getting more time in the fourth quarter, and he has not disappointed.
Take a look at this. Now, he's done this all season long. Rondo, a young man out of University of Kentucky, played for Tubby Smith.
Maybe the author of the indelible moment of this past NBA postseason when he ran down the ball in the backcourt, scooped it up, got up in one motion, didn't travel, put the ball on the ground first, and laid it up and in.
I remember that. Jason Williams was hustling after that ball as well from the Orlando Magic.
I think Williams was surprised to see, number one, that Rondo had chased him down, and number two, just how long his arms were in getting his hands on that ball.
I think Rondo's greatest strength is also his greatest weakness. He's stubborn. I think I'm sure the Celtics will probably point that out, but stubbornness can be very good in a player. Doc Rivers really channels Rondo's energy.
As Iguodala is fouled, well, there was some confusion about whether or not Rajon Rondo would be included on the team. He was not on the original roster of 27 invitees, but both Rondo and Jerry Colangelo said the omission was the result of crossed signals. Colangelo expressed interest in having Rondo on the team, and Rondo said he is 100% committed to playing. The question I have for you, Fran, is with the number of guards on this team, is Rondo someone who does get the invite to New York?
Well, it's going to be tricky. I would say yes, because he's such a dynamic player, particularly defensively. It's interesting. In Boston, they play a very solid 23 feet and in half-court defense. Doc Rivers gave Tom Thibodeau the chance to build that Celtics defense, now the coach of the Bulls. But Rondo says he likes this because Coach K's pressure defense is going to allow for more gambling. So I think ultimately he makes the team because of his dynamic defensive play.
Kick ball, but it was not called, so the shot clock does not reset down to 3. Pull back by Westbrook, no, but it's kept alive, and the big throwdown by Rudy Gay.
We've seen Rudy Gay do as much damage in the paint tonight as outside the paint, and that's that versatility of having a guy that can play inside and out.
Just when the blue cuts it down, Steph Curry and the white team open it back up to 18.
I'm sorry, Kev, every pick and roll is a switch. How about O.J. Mayo tonight? You talk about Eric Gordon. O.J. Mayo's put the ball in the basket.
He certainly has.
He's got 17.
Mayo's impressed. Gordon's impressed. We expected Kevin Durant to impress. Rudy Gay has been very good as well. And Derrick Rose is quietly making a name for himself on this team as well. The lead up to 18.
Well, the defensive effort will not go into the Basketball Hall of Fame, but I don't think that's something Coach K he was looking for energy tonight, and he's gotten energy from his squad.
Well, he's gotten energy and he's gotten athleticism and scoring from Rudy Gay as well. To the easy way, although the white team is in front. Back on the USA Basketball Showcase, presented by Nike, the white team an 18-point lead over the blue. Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla, and 1 point guard chatting with another, Chauncey Billups and Rajon Rondo. Well, the World Championships will be held August 28th through September 12th in Turkey. 4 preliminary round groups consisting of 6 teams each. And Fran, as we look at the U.S. group, which team stands out as a potential roadblock?
Well, watch out for Brazil. You're looking at Nene, Anderson Varejão. They've added Thiago Splitter, who will join the Spurs this year. You've got a youngster named Huertas in the backcourt who plays in Spain, who's terrific, and also Leandro Barbosa. Watch out for Spain. Croatia is young. Slovenia had a good backcourt until Beno Udrih quit yesterday because he wasn't starting. But they do have Goran Dragic, who has been outstanding for the Suns, and Jako Lakovic, I love saying that, who is the captain of that team, who's been a part of the Slovenia national team since 2001.
Very rare miss at the free throw line by Steph Curry. He's an 89% shooter this past season. Well, you think of the success Team USA has had in international play. In 2006, the U.S. took home the bronze. You know, the last time the U.S. won gold in the World Championships, got to go all the way back to 1994.
That's right. There's only one player still active in the NBA that was on that team. Can you name him? Shaquille O'Neal.
I'm going to say Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, Reggie Miller was on that team.
Wow.
Mark Price, Steve Smith. It was a team that won in Toronto. Of course, in '98 they lost because they did not send the NBA guys. That was the lockout year. 2002, the debacle in Indianapolis.
Boy, 6-3 that year. They did not even medal that go round. Lamar Odom was part of a team that by U.S. standards and really international standards, because of the success the U.S. has had, that 2002 team taking home bronze, most nations would sign up for that. For here in the United States, it was considered a catastrophe.
Well, it was the first loss. Remember, USA, since the NBA guys, the Dream Team in '92, had won 55 straight games. Now, it hasn't been too bad since. They're 107 overall. The only team to beat USA twice in that time is Argentina, who has basically that whole team still intact, except for Manu Ginobili.
Could you sense, was there any sort of a palpable sense on your part that was something that's been mentioned to this team while they've practiced in Vegas this week?
It's part of the culture now, what Coach K has brought now, and this really was manifest in 2006 when they were upset by Greece. There is a healthy respect for basketball around the world, and I think one of the big things was even how you win. Win with class, respect your opponents, because we've seen that the world has some very good players.
We're under a minute to play here in the fourth quarter. The white team, a 112-92 lead. Iguodala to the basket, and he's fouled hard by Kevin Love, who comes over and shows some love.
I think Andre wanted to have an opportunity at a highlight right there. I don't think he was too happy with that.
I think you're right.
But you know what? You're going to get a lot of that in FIBA play. Guy drives to the basket, they knock you on your butt, they hand check you. It's a much more physical game. Remember, you cannot hand check in the NBA out on the perimeter. In FIBA play, what we found out in 2006, 7, and 8, particularly in the Olympics, is teams play more physically because there's more allowed under the rules from a physical standpoint.
How big an adjustment is that for players?
Well, it is a big American basketball. We have dominated for so long that you've got to get used to poor officiating and crowds screaming at you.
Kevin Love, the follow-up and tip-in, cuts the lead to 20, but the outcome of this game, this exhibition, is well in the hands of the white team. A 20-point lead. About an 8-second differential between shot clock and game clock. If you tuned in to see offensive scoring and shooting, well, you've gotten that tonight. It's been a sloppy brand of basketball throughout. Russell Westbrook laying it in to purely make the final score cosmetic. 114-96, the white team victorious over the blue team tonight. And Fran Fraschilla, if you take one thing away from what you've seen tonight, what would it be?
Well, it's the athleticism. This is a smaller team. It's a less experienced team, but it's going to be a very athletic team. The goal now is to coalesce over the next 3 weeks before they head to Turkey.
Kevin Connors, Fran Fraschilla back with you. Team White, a 114-96 win over Team Blue. Rudy Gay and O.J. Mayo, the top scorers for the blue team. But for the white team, it's Kevin Durant. Tonight's Tiffany & Company player of the game is the Oklahoma City Thunder star. 30 points, leading all scorers. And presenting the award, Tom O'Rourke, Tiffany & Company Vice President of Marketing.
Center court, and welcome the Vice President of Marketing of Tiffany & Company, Mr. Tom O'Rourke, who is here tonight to present Kevin Durant with the Tiffany & Company Player of the Game Award. Congratulations to Kevin Durant for being today's Tiffany & Company Player of the Game.
Well, one of the things that I think if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you're thinking right now is we have athleticism, we have depth in the backcourt, little thin up front, we have a great player in Kevin Durant. The key is going to be continuity. This is a young team. There is not one player left from 2008. 11 guys under 22 years of age. Can they come together over the next 3 weeks before they go to Turkey and take on some very experienced teams? That's going to be the challenge. They are one of the favorites, Kevin, but they're not the prohibitive favorite when you think of teams like Argentina, Spain, Greece, Australia.
Our final score tonight, the white team 114, the blue 96. Up next on ESPN2, it's Winner's Bracket presented by Michelin with hosts Michelle Beadle and Marcellus Wiley. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire ESPN broadcast team, I'm Kevin Connors saying so long from Las Vegas.